Hey guys, what is up? Dace here and welcome back. Today we are checking out HAMMERWATCH on the Nintendo Switch, of course. Oh my god. Listen to that music. Okay, you guys are in for a treat. So let's get right into it. I think what I will do, first off, delete that. I'm just going to boot up my first file and I'll wander around, chat for a little bit about some of the preliminary stuff, and then we'll get right into looking at a few other things. So yeah, ooh, look at all this treasure. Okay, man, I love it. Oh, the booty, you guys, there is no end to the booty in this game. Oh man. So anyway, this is HAMMERWATCH. It came out for the Nintendo Switch on December 14th of last year. Of course, the game is much older than that, by like a few years or something like that, but it's new for the Switch anyway. And it was developed by Crackshell, published by Blitworks, and interestingly enough, I didn't even know about this game until about 3 weeks ago. I was on the Nintendo eShop and I saw it, and the graphics caught my eye immediately, of course. Those of you who know me will just know that like I love dungeon crawlers, and when something has a retro look like this, oh my god, I'm sold. So I was sold on this. But I had a whole bunch of other things on the go, so I was like, alright, I'm not gonna get it just yet, but very soon. So yeah, 2 or 3 days ago I picked it up. I played it almost exclusively for 2 days straight, for like a total of like 8 hours anyway. It's not like I played like so much, but okay, now he's awake, and let's just grab this. Anyway, I don't want to spoil too much, so that is that. We got the booty, and we are getting out of here. Actually, I can even just go like this. But anyway, yeah, I got the game, played through it, I love it, I think it's so cool, and I want to share a little bit with you guys, so that is what we are going to do. So, okay, so how about we get into the classes. You have your Paladin, melee fighter with good mobility and high defense. Your Wizard, ranged spellcaster with good area of effect damage. Ranger, versatile fighter with long range, recommended for new players. So this is who I used when I did my first playthrough. And I played on medium difficulty just to get a feel for like how that balanced out and all that stuff. So I will go into more detail about what each of these guys do after I just go through them briefly. So Warlock, melee spellcaster who can replenish health. Thief, high damage melee fighter with low defense. Priest is ranged spellcaster with good defense who can heal. And Sorcerer, ranged spellcaster with mobility and damage. Now one thing I want to mention is that with the console release that this game has gone through now, like the versions that have come out recently, or relatively recently for consoles, the Sorcerer was one of the new additions that they built into the game and added on. There were a bunch of other things, which I think is great, but anyway, I obviously played as the Ranger. I have not played through the game, of course, as Paladin or anything else. I've at least sampled each one of these for just like a few minutes just to see what they do, except for the Priest and the Sorcerer. I have yet to check those guys out. So anyway, I'm going to boot up a file with the Ranger. Now, one thing I really like is that you can modify the difficulties. So let's say you've mastered medium hard mode and you've even mastered easier mode. You can pull this up. You can do a 1 HP run if you want, no extra lives, and of course your score percentage is adjusted accordingly based on the things you tick off. So I love when a game throws that much more customization your way, and even if you've mastered the normal game, there's just so much more room for having a different experience with the game just by something as simple as like, okay, infinite lives or double damage. Like for instance, if I have infinite lives and like double damage, I'll probably play very differently, just like rushing in and doing crazy things that you normally wouldn't do if you were being more systematic with your approach. So anyway, I think that's just really cool that you have these modifiers here for your tampering with. Now you can play co-op up to 4 players, and I think that's what this shared HP pool is, which would be really cool, in my opinion. So anyway, that's that. I haven't dabbled with any of that stuff yet, but anyway, let's just get right into looking at the classes. The bridge. See if you can find a way out. We'll wait here. Oh yeah, you do that. So yeah, like the ranger, you have these infinite arrows. Of course, you're slower moving around when you're firing. Otherwise, you're like that fast. We'll just kill these bats. The other starting ability the ranger has are these bombs, which are pretty handy. Now, you'll see at the bottom the bar of blue that is counting up. That's my mana bar. So things like techniques, or like the bombs, for instance, that uses my mana, you can of course upgrade that later on, or just by like paying for the upgrades. And anyway, it comes in handy because like having more mana, for instance, it means you can just be dropping, like for instance, if there's, let's say, 1 second, I just want to kill these guys off. Let's say there's a boss right here, you can just be like boom, 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 like 5 or 6 bombs all around like a boss or a big enemy or a turret or whatever the case is, and just watch it get blown to bits. There's also like a combo mode. If you kill a certain amount of enemies quickly enough, like in a certain amount of time, then your character will get this combo mode that you enter into where there are like purple energy beams shooting out in all directions, and it only lasts for so long, but you can of course upgrade that. You can get extensions on the combo timer. You can get extra damage, extra shots, extra directions, like yeah, you can pretty much do whatever, and I just think that's awesome. Other techniques that I've gotten in my first playthrough is like the swirling arrow attack. Of course I don't have it now, but you spin around and arrows fly out everywhere, so that's cool too. There's just a lot of things you can be getting. Like all this gold that we collect in here can be spent at the various vendors. So you have one person for upgrading your attack, one for your defense, your different skills. There's one for selling like healing potions or invulnerability potions, just like all sorts of stuff. It's really cool. So yeah, these blue crystals replenish your mana. Of course, like it regenerates on its own, but if you don't want to wait that long, you can just like snag those and you're topped up pretty quick. These apples are for health, of course. If you have been damaged, then you can just chomp, munch the day away, and that's great. So yeah, that's like pretty much it for, that's like more or less all I can show you right now for this guy. Before I sample some of the other ones, maybe I'll just wander around. Otherwise you're just seeing the same like starting every time I boot up one of the new characters. So I'll do that after, and I'll just do a little gameplay now. So here's a save point, which I like that it's a floppy disk, 3.5 inch, that they chose, unless it's supposed to be something else, but it looks like a disc to me anyway. So yeah, really cool layout. I love the graphics. The controls are like really nice. I've played a bunch in both handheld and docked, and of course when I'm docked, typically I'm using the Pro controller, so everything is excuse me, buttery smooth, and that's fantastic. Okay, let's get a move on. Now, what I will say is that you may have noticed that the first file took like 8 hours, and that's just if you are killing every single enemy, which is not necessary at all. That's just what I did because it was my first time, and I was like, oh man, like so immersed in like slaying everything in the dungeon, in the dank depths. But you can literally speed run this game. All these guys are cool. like I think, yeah, it's interesting because when I like the first night I had the game, I did this whole level. It took me about an hour, but you can speedrun it in about 2 or 3 minutes easily, and that's just fantastic. Knowing that you don't have to break open every single thing. That's another thing I did. I like, okay, I want to get some water. Holy smokes. Because I'm just sounding a little, my throat is like, yeah, a little on the dry side. Anyway, that helps a little bit. Anyway, excuse me. What was I going on about? Oh yeah, like I literally broke open every single object that I could possibly break, and I killed every single enemy, and that's very time consuming. So I think in future runs, I will just like rush past the hordes and only take on like those who I really want, because after the first level, the next day I did the second level, and that was like an hour and 40 minutes, and I was like, holy smokes, like this is like crazy compared to what I'm used to. Because like, for instance, Wizard of Legend, which is another awesome game, or even Neurovoider, like some of those levels you can be done in less than a minute and you're on to the next. And like, I like both. I love the fact that going into this as thorough as I did initially, it was just like so refreshingly different. It was just so long. And then after that, like the third level was even longer, and it got to the point where the levels were just like, a single level would span like a morning, afternoon, and whatever the case was. So that's really cool. Okay, I'm gonna get some more water, but I'm gonna pause and then just cut it out. Okay, wow, that makes a big difference. Anyway, okay, so yeah, anyway, that's let's bomb those guys. Yeah, I don't recall what I was babbling on about, but anyway, you get the idea. Yeah, oh yeah, okay, very long if you're doing it thorough. And I kind of recommend both, because like it was just so cool playing for so long and being like, oh my god. Like for instance, in each act or level, there are 3 runes that you activate in order to open the gate to the like boss of the level. And sometimes I would play for like an hour in some of the like mid to later levels. I would play for an hour or an hour and a half, and I still would not have come across the first rune of the 3. Sometimes it was like 2 hours, and you're just like, oh my god, I've been playing this level for 2 hours and I have not even like come across the first rune to activate it, even if I wanted to. Like it was just so different from what I've been playing most recently anyway, so that has been really cool. But yeah, like, so in that sense, like if you're gonna play this for the first time, you could certainly not be thorough. if you just want to like do a little more in the way of just dashing past enemies and whatever else. But again, like if you're just as welcome. Like they're both great options in my opinion, and the music is really cool, so I had no issue pumping 8 hours into a run. I did watch part of a speedrun anyway, where someone does the whole game in like half an hour, so that's just a bit of a comparison. Like, so yeah. Anyway, I think maybe we'll just go down here for a minute or two, and then we will get into some of the other guys. And yeah, just all sorts of enemies. It's really cool. Like these guys, like, oh. And I think definitely, like it could just be my level of experience with games like this. I think I wouldn't necessarily even do medium mode again. I think like from now on it's just, it's either hard or medium with some modifiers perhaps or something. But yeah, like it's just, if you're new to this kind of stuff, or you just find it a little too challenging, then yeah, maybe medium is the way to go, or easier. whatever, really whatever suits you or whatever you're wanting to deal with. Okay, anyway, let's... Okay, so that's one of the runes, so you more or less make your way to that. You hit the 4 things on each corner and it lights up, and then wherever the actual boss gate is, you will see that the rune is lit up there as well. So let's just hop down here. Okay. Boom. Get that. I think that's supposed to be an orange or pumpkin. So here's one of like the people. So this is for upgrading your health. So of course we don't have enough almost for a health upgrade or a mana pool upgrade. And as you can see down there, 50 to 80. Now if you have more vendor coins, then those are the like the gold coins that you just saw me pick up. The more of those you have, the more of a discount you get, which is awesome. Because you spend a ton of gold in this game. There would be times where I'd have 20,000 gold and I'd go to like a single vendor and I'd just be like, oh well, I want 3 or 4 things, and everything gets more expensive like with each level of the upgrade, and before you know it you're down to like 600 gold and you're not able to afford anything because everything's like 3,000 or 4,000 then. But in no time you can be back up to like 17,000 and like boom, again you're down to 0. So anyway, I think what I will do now is we'll just quit and we'll just get rid of that and we'll just go into, yeah sure, we'll do the Paladin and take a look at his stuff. And of course there's no obligation to upgrade your character, but I just like the fact that you can, if you want, you can customize it how you want. You can focus on techniques, or if you want other perks, then that's great too. It's really whatever you want to do. So you can literally just hold down, and the Paladin does that. He also has this dash, so it's great for... I think if I was going to speedrun, I would totally use the Paladin, because like once you get a lot of mana, you can just be dashing everywhere and like lunging through the hordes. So that's more or less it for the Paladin. Holy smokes, down to 1 HP. That was crazy. Yeah, sweet. Actually, one thing I saw someone do is, for the speedrun anyway, when they did this level in 3 minutes or whatever, they just took like a damage potion and then they just stood up against the end boss, or the boss of this level, and then it was done. But anyway, that's the Paladin. Okay, let's do the Wizard. So what it seems like to me anyway is that each one has like an infinite attack they can do, or something that does not deplete, like the Ranger with the arrows, the Paladin just like swinging away, and then of course they have their thing with that uses mana. So for the Wizard you have infinite fire blasts like this, and then you have that which uses your mana. Ooh, the dance. Okay, so yeah, that's the Wizard. Like, I'm very, very curious to see how the game plays with each class. Like, I certainly intend to do a run with each of them. Not necessarily at once, all at once, but like every time I do play another run, it'll probably be with a different class until I've like explored all that stuff. So, oh, I love that screen. It's beautiful blues and that little pink potion. Just so cool. Anyway, let's do the Warlock, yeah. So he's got those which are really cool. I actually want to show you like that. Just a single shot passes through all of them. And I'm out of already. But you can also kind of just like use your wand or whatever to like slice away or something. I'm not too sure, but yeah, just so cool. So I think the Warlock, the Warlock is really neat. But anyway, let's move on. And one thing I will say, just while we're like loading up here, some other stuff. The game has like 2 campaigns. So HAMMERWATCH, which is like the main one, and then there is the other one is called Temple of the Sun, I believe, and it's like a desert kind of setting. Now I haven't played in that yet, and I have no idea how it plays compared to the main campaign, but I'm very eager to check that out at some point as well. And then you have 2 other modes of playing. There's like a hero defense or something, and then there's a survival mode. So yeah, all sorts of like cool things you can be doing. Okay, so it looks like he's just using like little daggers or something, and then he has those like shooting darts or like whatever. So that's the thief, and of course, like I haven't played with these guys, so I have no idea if, like just how different the available techniques will be for them. Like of course this guy has the spinning arrows and like whatever else. So as I actually play these, it will be neat to see just what they've all got going for them. Okay, on to the priest. Cool, so I think this would, well, okay, that's kind of like handy if you're like not wanting to go right up to something, but I think this guy would probably be, what is he? Oh, that's sweet. This is the first time I've seen that. That's a pretty decent amount considering like 2 bombs. Like I'm sure the bombs do more and that's like how they balance it out, but yeah, that's pretty impressive. Because you just seem to be getting like a longer attack out of it. Cool. So I'm wondering how he heals exactly, but anyway, that's the priest. I like his little like bishop hat and robes. Okay, and last but not least, the sorcerer. I like his hat and his cloak. So it looks like ice ray, like ice projectiles and cool ice comets, more or less. Because I think the wizard is the fire-based guy, and they want to like include an ice-based one as well. So that's why they introduced the sorcerer. So yeah, that's gonna be that, you guys. Yeah, I don't really think there's too much else. Like, I'll probably just go back to the menu and go over some of the other options, perhaps. Because, like, why not? Or even just, yeah, take a look at that. 8-directional shooting. Help. Oh yeah, this is, like, useful too. I like that they include this kind of stuff and, like, controls, heroes. Yeah, it's just neat. Anyway, yeah, so like if you're not sure what something does, you can just check it out. And that's that. Interestingly enough, for the food, I never once saw a fish. Or whatever that's supposed to be. It looks like a fish. I never once saw that. That's the only thing I haven't seen in my playthrough. So, and of course, who sells what, like all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but anyway, that is that. Yeah. So for instance, let's say we're doing, well, let's just for kicks, let's say we're the wizard and that's Temple of the Sun. Oh, cool. That sounds really neat. Now because of like just the solid chunk that I devoted to this game even though I'm stoked to dip into Temple of the Sun and even other runs in Castle Hammerwatch, I'm probably not going to do that right away. I'll probably hold off a little bit, but perhaps I'll do like a Let's Play if you guys want to see something like that, or yeah, whatever. So either mention that in the comments if you'd like to see that, or I may just decide to do it myself at some point in the near enough future. But anyway, I think that is going to wrap it up, you guys. Perhaps what I'll do is I'll just load this one more time and we'll just I'll wrap things up by collecting all this treasure again. It's so good. Oh my god. We're just making a mad dash for the booty. But yeah. Ooh. Just so cool. Yeah, all sorts of really cool enemies. Like, we barely saw anything yet with what I've shown you guys. So anyway, if you are into dungeon crawlers, if you're into medieval fantasy, if you're into spell casting, or just like yeah, any of that kind of stuff, like, and especially if you're into like retro looking games, they did a spectacular job with the look and feel of this. I love it. And yeah, like the music, which I've already mentioned, just really cool. They don't have a ton of tracks, but I really, really like the music in this game. So all in all, like, I would recommend this. It's not going to be for everyone. Of course, I can say that about every single game, but anyway, that's just more or less a little look at Hammerwatch, and of course, like, this was by no means in depth at all, so if you want to look into it more, feel free, or stay tuned for when I actually do a little more coverage on it. But yeah, that's going to be it from me, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share your comments below. I would love to hear back from you guys. And yeah, you have an awesome day, and I will see you next time.